Fuck, man, I'm just saying.
Hey man, look at hey, because if Giannis knew if he want to step on that logo, that a water bottle was gonna be thrown in his direction. Just saying.
Imagine stepping on the logo and you're the second best player on your team. Let me correct myself. Third.
Now you did that. You didn't have to do that, but you did. And I was about to say, being the second best player is not actually that bad. And then you said third best player.
You know, Celtics fans are tight.
Wale is pissed, bro.
Tight. And it was the fact that it was Kyrie too. It hurt them even more. That's why that fan threw that water bottle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He had to be furious because of that. But that again, he's Ed. Like what? Like you think Kyrie's gonna really get in trouble for stepping on a logo?
That's just basketball.
Yeah, that's
it's
just
disrespectful, but that's basketball. That's just the entertainment value of it. It's like T.O. running to the star.
Yeah,
and on Dallas, in Dallas, same thing, same situation. That's all.
Yeah, but it's crazy because he disrespected a historical franchise, man. Like you just can't do like okay. Obviously, I don't know football, and I know the Cowboys are a legendary historic franchise within their own right. America's team. Well, I'm just saying you can't.
I'm sorry, but I just gotta say something. You can't be America's team, and the last time you won a Super Bowl is '92. with two playoff wins. I'm sorry, that's not for you. That's just for football fans. But keep going.
But the Celtics, sports history, transcending the game, and you just like with a Kobe memorized shoe on, you're going to like just step on the Celtics logo. Well, that shit. Well, Kobe probably happy because like Lakers, Celtics, like But
I'll tell you one thing: Kyrie, he's not coming back to Boston unless he have to. Like this in the playoffs, he's not. He's not.
Well, he's not coming back to Boston. They trying to end this here.
KG hated. Glenn Davis hated. They on him. Yeah. Don't want to go to Boston.
I wouldn't want to go to Boston either. It's almost like going to Cleveland for vacation. Who goes to Cleveland for vacation?
Well, I mean, you go to Boston to watch a game.
Yeah. Yes.
Watch a sports game because they're a big sports town. That's what you go to Boston for.
Yeah, nothing else.
Hey, I'll say it. Kyrie deserved it. He deserved that water bottle. Should have thrown two more.
Yeah,
Nah, I'm just joking.
Well, something was bound to go wrong, and it's just like fans are getting stupider and stupider by the day. So hey, let's just live with it now.
Yeah. But hey, let's get into the games. Hello, everybody. As you can tell, no intro for today. Just a little bit going into the talking. Talking about basketball. Going into the jokes. But now let's officially go into the basketball games. First off, the Philadelphia 76ers looking to sweep the Washington Wizards in DC. And with their early start, Sixers got out to a strong start. Unfortunately for them, though, Embiid, late in that first quarter, got hurt. Stayed in for a little bit, then left, and he didn't return. From what they said, it was a knee soreness, so I don't think it's going to be that serious. But obviously, with a player like that, player that caliber, championship hopes riding on his shoulders, you don't want to take any chances.
Exactly.
Even if it's close on game, I mean, you're up 3-0. Trust the other players to be able to close this out. You don't want to take any chances.
Exactly.
So, well, that's what I think. At least in terms of his knee soreness, but yeah, he left the game in that late first quarter, and he didn't return.
Yeah.
And maybe because of that, this game was close.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah. Well, when you got to do that skill in terms of both ends of the floor not being there, I hope that is an advantage for the opponent that they're going against.
Well, yeah, it better be. I mean, speaking of that opponent, yeah, it was an advantage for them because they was able to get easier shots. They were able to get better defensive possessions. But it's still wasn't easy because Sixers team, you've seen them. They've gotten wins without Embiid.
Yeah.
You know, obviously they're the best player and they want to be in the position they are. Down. But they've been able to maintain and hold up without him for a few.
Oh, yeah.
And that's basically what happened. I mean, even despite a late third quarter run by the Wizards,
yeah,
the Sixers still kept it competitive and they still stayed within this game.
Yeah.
And it went down to the wire.
Yes, it did.
The Wizards had to use a hack of Ben.
Who actually had a good game, by the way, too, himself. But yeah.
Did just not from the free throw line. They used their hack of Ben. Got great defensive possessions. And just made big shots down the stretch. And then late it was Roy Hachimura had his best game of the series. Much needed game. He was big time in this game. They needed that performance from him. Someone to step up. He did it. And it was a dagger three by him, and which led to the Wizards winning this game.
Yeah, man. What a great way. Again, I luckily they kept my prediction alive because I did have this in 5 games, and I think you had it in 5 games too.
But you switched. Don't do that.
Oh, okay. Look, I did switch.
You switched.
Wait. Okay. Well, wait. I I did say there was nothing good that happens down 3-0. So I thought I thought they was gonna get that win in game 3, but hey, they didn't. So, but they got it in game 4. So my thing still stays alive. But yeah, the way the Wizards took advantage, again, you don't want to see somebody get injured, but the way they took advantage of Embiid not being there, because look, again, they started hunting more into the paint because that's what they're good at. Just like how we always talk about it all the time in the regular season and now in the postseason. Transition game, getting into the paint, working, attacking the rim, penetrating, working off of that, and then diversifying your game from outside of there. And that's what they did. Bradley Beal had a great game, but come on now, it's Bradley Beal. We shouldn't be surprised. Westbrook, I believe,
in the second half, he had a great game. First half, he was a little bit off and on. He was struggling. Yeah. Russ had a triple-double. Offensively, in terms of scoring, he didn't really have a great game. But he was there for his teammates. He made great plays.
Yeah. His impact all around. His impact all around outside of the scoring category, of course, which wasn't that great.
And something I forgot to mention, Davis Bertans, who also had a great game, but unfortunately for him, he got hurt in the game. And he left. For quarter. Was this in the third quarter? I believe.
Was it?
I think it was in that. I think it was in that third quarter. Yeah. But yeah, he had probably his best game of the series because he's really been struggling in this series. But and then he goes out and what was it? A hamstring injury? A hamstring strain or a groin strain?
Yeah, one of those. It was one of those. For real. Yeah.
I think it was non-contact too. Yeah, so that was a big loss for them, and they need them because they need shooting because they're not good. They haven't been good from 3.
Yeah, and I feel like if you look at it, actually outside of Beal, of course, he's the only other guy who you could look at on that team and say they could stretch the floor.
Really good, yeah.
Yeah, really good.
I think Hachimura can do it here and there, but I think Bertans is a better 3-point shooter than him.
Yeah, because Bertans is more of a pure shooter than Hashimura. And of course, yes, you got Nato, but I said Neto,
No.
but Neto, he's not a perimeter threat. He's more of like a penetration, in my opinion. Ish Smith the same way, penetration. Like there's nobody else on this team that could shoot it well except for that could shoot it well from deep except for Bill and Bertans. So
Oh,
that
yeah,
hurts.
yeah. Yeah, I agree. And they needed him. Hopefully it's not anything serious for him. And then get back and possibly pull some miracle. But yeah, but that's not gonna happen if they're not gonna have him on the floor because they need that 3-point shooter.
Yes. Yes, they
So
do.
I forgot to have mentioned that. But yeah, um, after you was talking right before I mentioned that, what was you saying about
Oh,
the?
I was gonna bring up Daniel Grafford too. Daniel Grafford, he had a big impact again. No Embiid, he better go off because it's like he's barbecue chicken when Embiid is guarding.
Well, speaking of that, Gafford had a good game. Robin Lopez had a good game as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, funny.
hey, he's Robin. Where's his Batman? Oh, he got injured.
What? He got injured.
All right, that made no sense. But
No, that didn't. Who's the injured?
I was talking about Embiid.
Oh, okay. Well, if I would have realized that quicker, it would have been okay. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't your worst. I've definitely heard worse from you. But Robin Lopez, yeah, um, so skilled in the post with his hook shots, and he had a good game. Like I said, Gafford had a good game. I mean, yeah, Embiid not being there helped him.
Yeah, for sure.
But and continue on once again.
Oh no, that's it. That's all I really want to say. Just a great way to take advantage and end up coming out with this win for the Wizards.
And what about the Sixers? How was they able to, stay in
Oh
this
well,
game?
the Sixers were still able to maintain in this game because again they just like what you said, they played without Embiid before, and other players went off. Tobias Harris had a good game. Seth Curry hit big time shots, and Ben Simmons still had his impact all over the floor. Probably not big in the scoring category, but still he still had his great impact on the floor. And there was nothing really much that the Wizards could do because again, their defense isn't that great. But hey, so he's going to go his way. But yeah, the shooting and the chemistry, the connection, and sometimes the defense of the Sixers what kept them in this game. Just like what you said, they're just a better team than this Wizards team. Let's just be honest. Even when beat out, they're still good enough because they're well coached. They know how to stick to their game plan. They don't phase out. They're well under pressure. It's just normal to them.
Yeah, you gotta give credit to the Sixers for that. Also, their bench. All those guys, Korkmaz, Dwight Howard, George Hill, and Tyrese Maxey, especially. I mean, they played great.
Getting the bucket.
Yeah, so it was a great way for the Sixers to try to win this game and try to end this series. But unfortunately, no sweep in DC as the Wizards do pick up their first win of the series. And this for the Sixers, it might just take a game longer for them to win this series.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of no sweeps, there was automatically going to be no sweep with the game 1 win in Memphis.
Yeah.
But with the past 2 wins by the Jazz, the Grizzlies were looking to tie and even up this series 2-2. And yeah, I mean, these teams have really been going at it.
Yeah.
I mean, the Grizzlies has really been staying within striking distance. And even in those losses, you felt like little tweaks here and there, especially in game 3. It could have been a different outcome.
Yeah. But
That's what I'm
this
saying.
is the thing this is the thing I talk about. You're right. minor tweaks and stuff like that. But this is why I keep going back to inexperience. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you're talking about a young team on the rise, first time in the playoffs, didn't know what to expect. They have been shocking people though. Let's be honest about that. They've been shocking people for their first time in the playoffs. They look like they've been in the playoffs at least once before. And again,
Yeah.
their coach is still doing really good. Like, you know, he's making adjustments, making the right things. He's trusting and believing in his star player, aka his best leader in Ja, and they're making noise. But it's just like, again, Utah has been in this situation multiple times, and with the way they've been playing this whole year, it's just like, you know, it's not easy. It's not easy. I know you got that win, but don't forget, people could end up looking at that win that they got the first game and say Donovan wasn't playing. They try to make up that excuse, you know what I mean? But hey, a win is a win, right? But like, you know, it's hard to go against that. It's really hard to go against a really good team like Utah, who's been in situations like these before.
Yeah, you're 100% right. But it even, it helps you out a lot when you have a player like John Morant, who has been, once he's been spectacular in the series, and had another great game
Yeah.
in game 4. I mean, he was just pooping. He was balling out. He was doing everything that he could to keep the Jazz. I mean, keep the Grizzlies within reach. Dylan
Yeah.
Brooks, budding star, as I mentioned, who's been having a great series, even though he's been in foul trouble. Not as much this game though.
Yeah.
Not as much in this game, but had another great game.
Yeah.
Also, Jared Jackson Jr. had his best game of the series.
Yeah.
And he was spectacular. I feel like he could really push the pace. He could really attack. He's great from inside the three.
Yeah.
Sometimes he does settle from three, and I mean that's why he had a bad shooting performance from the 3-point line, but it was great everywhere else. Yeah, Jared Jackson, best performance of the series, and this was a very competitive game. And the Jazz, as we've seen, because the Jazz are really good at closing out quarters, and that's what they did in that third quarter.
Hell yeah.
I mean, and Donovan Mitchell, he was spectacular throughout the whole game. Donovan Mitchell, their best chances to win is rides with him.
Yeah.
That's why you needed him to be healthy.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Also, I mean, their 3-point shooting ever since game 1 has been great.
Yeah. Hell yeah. It has. Man, they're one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the league for a reason, and they continue to constantly prove it. And they've proven it right now in the postseason. Like, they just can't be stopped from 3. You know what I mean? Their spacing, their stretching, their pick and roll game, just their execution, their movement. It's the reason why at least an accurate 3-point shooting, because they know how to connect and flow well. And when you got people like Mike Conley, who's getting revenge on his old team, and then you got Jordan Clarkson,
yes,
banging it out, then of course.
Yes. Jordan Clarkson that you just mentioned, he had his best game of the series. I mean, he was great. 6th man of the year. He was great in this game. Yeah. He was hitting big shots, especially in that second half. Mike Conley was doing damage to them. I mean, he was clutch in that second half.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of 3-point shots they had was because of him, and not because of his shooting, because of his ability to get into the paint and kick it out to someone who's wide open.
Exactly.
Rudy Gobert, not just on the defensive end, but was great offensively, especially in that second half. I mean, I think he had 16 points in the second half.
Yeah.
I mean, this team was great in that second half. One of the reasons why the Grizzlies staying within it, because in that fourth quarter, somebody on the name of DeAnthony Milton.
Role player.
Yes, role players with 15 big points in that fourth quarter to help the Grizzlies stay within the game. I mean, yeah, role players, they're so important. You don't game plan for them.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't.
You want to focus more worried about the star players.
Yeah, because those are the guys that's going to take you over the hump But just like what you say, you don't game plan for reserves because they're not, even though they should be a focus, they're not the big time focus. That's the reason why there's always that saying, like, when your number is called, be ready. Because you don't know when it's going to be your time to shine. And that was basically D'Anthony. Did I say his name correctly? D'Anthony
Yes,
Melton.
D'Anthony Melton.
Yeah,
Yeah.
D'Anthony Melton. Like, this was his moment. This was his moment to show up big time, in which the team needed him. Yes, obviously, what you're about to allude to, it did not come out the way that was wanted. But hey, what a way to try to even like make this, like, because if it went their way, this would have been known as the D'Anthony Melton game. There you go.
Yep, exactly. But it didn't end that way for the Grizzlies because the Jazz, just mentioned, they're so great at closing out quarters. That's what they did in that fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Conley was especially spectacular in that fourth quarter. I mean, yeah, he knows the rims. He knows the rims. He knows the crowd. He knows the floors.
He know the whole organization from top to bottom.
And his IQ and his intelligence has been really showing in this series.
Yes.
I mean, his playmaking ability has been really showing in this series. Mm-hmm. He's been amazing. Mike Conley has been amazing. Him, along with Mitchell and Bogdanovich, closed out this game, and as a result, it was the Jazz winning the game, getting the sweep against the Grizzlies on their home floor.
Yeah.
And now just one win away from moving on to the second round.
Thank you, guys.
Jazz up 3-1. They were also up 3-1 last year. All right.
Well, what made you say that?
Yeah, well, that's what happened. That's all I'm saying.
No disrespect to the Grizzlies, but but they're not Denver. They weren't Denver last year, and they ain't Denver this year.
That's true, because Denver was Denver was the favorites going into that series. It was surprising that they were down 3-1.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. I remember talking to him when Denver was down 3-1. We had hoped Denver. He lost all hope in Denver. He was like, I just don't see anything happen. I'm saying, like, they're down 3-1. Yes, it's tough, but we've seen it done before. And I stayed true. I still had Denver winning the series. I really thought that they could come back from 3-1 and win the series, and that's what happened. You gave up. And then eventually you was like, yeah, you're right, fine. I got Denver.
Yes, I was like that. But hey, look, that's what happens when you put too much faith into, like, a place called Salt Lake City that happens to play Jazz.
Salt Lake ain't never played no Jazz. Come on, man. They gotta change that name. Come on. Like, what? Just because you switched over to a new city doesn't mean you have to keep the name.
Exactly. But I don't know any other name to give them, to be honest.
I don't know. Crowfish or something?
The Miners.
Crawfish? What?
The Miners.
Well, that just sounds weird. But first, let's get into the predictions not first, but let's get into the predictions for tonight's set of playoff games. Starting off with the 7:30 game, TNT. Win or go home for the Boston Celtics as they go back to Brooklyn. And Brooklyn looking to end this series and meet the Milwaukee Bucks, who are waiting and getting a lot of rest. Who do you have?
I have the Nets. Bye-bye, Kemba. I love you, though.
I have the Nets as well. Never mind. I was going to say a lot of jokes, but never mind.
Don't go that nigga. Take them.
Should stomp on that logo, Kyrie.
let me get the water bottles.
Maybe they throw some water bottles like Kemba. All right. Next up, NBA TV, 9 o'clock. 2-2, the series is even, and it's back to Denver. The Portland Trail Blazers going up against the Nuggets. Who do you have?
This is gonna be an important game.
Yes, it is.
But home court, I got obviously, of course, I got Portland winning the series, but I feel like I got Denver with this one.
Well, same with you. I have Denver winning this one, and I have Denver winning the series. So, yes. And that's a pivotal game 5. Game 5s can be the most important game in a series, especially when the series is tied 2-2. And speaking of that, we go to 10 o'clock TNT. The defending champions, the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't know if AD is going to play. As of right now, I have to see. I don't think so. I don't know. Might be questionable.
Yeah.
But going back to Phoenix, Arizona to battle the Phoenix Suns. Who do you have in this big game 5?
Look, if the Suns didn't have this much energy already, especially after that win from last game, this better be some newfound energy because, man, AD being out, they're like, oh man, and we be cooking already, even with him even playing in the series. Hey, this is theirs. This is theirs for the taking in their home floor. I got the Suns.
Interesting. Well, LeBron did say he's ready to carry them if need be.
Yeah.
AD's out, and LeBron has definitely done that a lot of times in his career.
Yep.
However, he hasn't carried a team in the Western Conference.
Yeah.
And he has carried a team facing this Suns team who are really good. And Chris Paul, especially with the game he had last game.
Yeah.
So I think he's gonna need AD. So I got the Suns.
Yeah, man. Well, one thing I always say, unless if you're not 2011 Dirk, never bet against Braun.
But you betting against him now. Well, maybe, but I'm going to say it. Well, in this game, you're betting against him.
Yeah, I'm betting against him in this game. In the series, hell no. You're going to find some way to take it, I think. I believe.
And we'll see what happens. All right. I think it's time to wrap things up, John. Any final thoughts?
No. I don't got no final thoughts, man.
Well,
that's my final thought.
Congratulations to the Wizards for not getting swept. And the Miami Heat, the remaining Eastern Conference champions. The only team to have gotten swept in the playoffs and the only team that are still eliminated.
Yeah.
That have only been eliminated for right now.
Yeah. All I got to say is one name. Bryn. That's it. That's all that has to be said. Bryn, bro. Not Giannis. Not Drew. Not Chris. Not DiVincenzo. Bryn. Not even
let's leave Miami alone. They gone now. No need to talk about them.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right. Let's leave Miami alone. Let's talk about Jimmy.
All right. Listen, man. The series is over. All right, we had our chance to pick on them when they got eliminated. Now, good luck to the teams playing in tonight's playoff games, the big game 5s. All right. That being said, thank you guys for watching today's podcast. Make sure to tune into tomorrow's podcast. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment, give us feedback, support the channel, all that good stuff.
And you know, of course, follow our IG and our TikTok down in the description below.
Yes. And once again, I'm Evan.
I'm Ja.
This is my basketball podcast.
Playoff edition.
Playoff edition.